Bruno Fernandes' Manchester United bust-up, remarks on future and Real Madrid transfer message. Manchester United's loss at Nottingham Forest witnessed another flare-up courtesy of skipper Bruno Fernandes, sending yet another reminder all is not well at Old Trafford. Bruno Fernandes' Manchester United loyalties are once again being tested following defeat at Nottingham Forest. Alarm bells are again ringing at Manchester United following their midweek defeat at Nottingham Forest. The Red Devils entered the recent international break in decent form, but resumed their campaign with a third straight Premier League loss to Nuno Espirito Santo's side. The performance was a collage of all the things that have come to frustrate United fans in recent years: gaping holes in defense, lacking conviction in attack, and energy spent in all the wrong places. To that latter point, Bruno Fernandes' lash-out at Forest captain Ryan Yates and the furore that followed is an example of the kind of drama United's skipper should be above. Fernandes' frustrations, whether that be with the opposition or his own teammates, have become a calling card of a man seemingly in turmoil. The Portugal international is often celebrated as United's best player, at least in a technical sense, and the one inspiring drive in those around him, but there's only so much one can do before losing faith. The cracks that intermittently emerge aren't helped by rumors that continue to link Fernandes with the Old Trafford exit, and big clubs are reportedly interested. Mirror Sport examines the playmaker's current situation as his United struggles persist, with one former coach at the club touting him for a bright future at the Bernabeu. Forest bust-up. On a night when everything seemed to go right for Forest, Yates perhaps best encapsulated the notion that one creates one's own luck. The skipper finished the triumph with 2 fouls to his credit, though one could easily argue other mistimed challenges went unpunished, and even assisted Anthony Elanga's breakaway decider. Yates pulled off his ploy of man-marking Fernandes with aplomb, doing as he has to numerous elite opposite numbers this season by getting in their heads. And nowhere else was that more effective than when he responded to Fernandes' flicked hand by rolling on the floor as though bludgeoned with a closed fist. Referee Jared Gillett assessed the situation and appeared to arrive at the conclusion Yates was indeed exaggerating any offense. But it was the latest sign yet of Fernandes' frayed mindset, giving the opposition precisely what they want when under pressure. Forest captain Ryan Yates succeeded in getting inside Fernandes' head at the City ground. United, who could slip down as far as 15th this week, have proudly flaunted an army of aggressors in the past, tempestuous stars who play on the edge of legality. But that aggression has traditionally been teamed with a certain arrogance, knowing full well they were the big team in any given contest. The power balance has changed now, though, and such displays now reek of desperation to impress and end this reign of mediocrity. It's in times like these that players tend to take after their captain, but Fernandes continues to exhibit a not-so-cool head with what feels like increasing regularity. Real Madrid rumors. In the event United were tempted or forced into letting the captain leave, only the European elite would be considered genuine contenders. Barcelona have been heavily linked with the player in the past, but its Spanish rivals Real Madrid, who have supposedly raised interest amid talk of a £90 million offer. That figure could be sweet enough for United to cash in on the 30-year-old. Former United first-team coach René Meulenstein believes Los Blancos would become all but unstoppable if Fernandes were to complete that particular move. I think people sometimes question the way Bruno Fernandes likes to get his feelings across, he told Poker Firma. But one thing for me is certain. He's an absolute winner. He plays all the games, he's never injured, and he's very committed to Manchester United and wants the best for the club. Every footballer has ambitions. I'm sure he wants to win trophies for Manchester United, but if a team like Real Madrid were to come knocking for him in the summer, he would fit like a glove there. Luka Modric is turning 40 soon, and Madrid needs someone in midfield with that kind of passing range who can supply Rodrygo, Vinicius Jr., and Kylian Mbappe. With Bruno Fernandes' passing range, Real Madrid would be unbelievable, and their forward line would become even better. Manchester United horror season hits new low after Nottingham Forest masterclass. 6 talking points. Nottingham Forest 1-0. Manchester United. Anthony Elanga struck against his old employers, netting a superb solo strike to secure all 3 points for Nuno Espirito Santo's men at the City Ground to continue United's dismal season. Manchester United were beaten 1-0 by Nottingham Forest on Tuesday to continue their difficult season. Manchester United's roller coaster season under Ruben Amorim continued on Tuesday night after a 1-0 loss to Nottingham Forest. Former Red Devil Anthony Elanga struck against his old club in the 4th minute with a superb solo effort to hand United an uphill task for the rest of the game. United rallied and hit the post through Diogo Dalot, but struggled to find an equalizer and went into the break a goal down. Amorim's men failed to produce enough clear-cut openings as Forest were able to sit on their lead and grind out 3 points. But the Red Devils came mightily close to a late goal as Harry Maguire's effort was cleared off the line in the last seconds. Forest have now secured the league double over United with a vital win that puts them a step closer to qualifying for the Champions League. Mirror Football has taken a look at the biggest talking points from the game at the City Ground. Elanga comes back to haunt United. United sold him for just £15 million in the summer of 2023. And tonight, Elanga sent the perfect message to his former employers with a sensational solo goal to stun the Red Devils inside the first 4 minutes. The Sweden international embarked on a mazy run after picking up the ball near the edge of his own penalty area and ran the length of the pitch with 3 United players tracking back to stop him. He then advanced centrally and charged into the box with no United defender attempting a challenge, before slotting calmly past Onana into the corner. Anthony Elanga came back to haunt United after netting a superb solo effort. Elanga gave a muted celebration in respect for his former club, but it only served to show that United may have made a big mistake letting him go, and as things stand, he will be playing in the Champions League next season. The 22-year-old now has 6 goals and 8 assists, and you could make a very solid argument that he would get into Amorim's starting 11 as things stand. Only Bruno Fernandes, 35, has more goals and assists combined than Elanga, 28, since he arrived at Forest, and that speaks volumes. Elanga's sale looks all the more puzzling now considering the club decided to offload him instead of Antony, Marcus Rashford, and Jadon Sancho, who have all now been shipped out on loan. Zirkzee fails to repay faith. Joshua Zirkzee has been placed under the microscope on a number of occasions this season due to his sketchy displays since joining from Bologna for £35 million last summer. The Dutchman has scored 6 goals in all competitions but just 3 in the Premier League, with the forward being forced to play more as a substitute than as a starter this season. But he was given a chance to impress from the off at the City Ground, with Huijsen benched, and Amorim said Zirkzee's inclusion was a tactical reason, insisting he had picked the best XI to win the game. Joshua Zirkzee put in an anonymous display at the City Ground. But Zirkzee, as he has been so many times this season, was anonymous for the most part against Forest and barely touched the ball. He offered little as an attacking option, though he was given little service, as Amorim was forced to bring on Huijsen in the second half to support him. Casemiro and Ugarte's run ends. Neither player have covered themselves in glory this season, especially Casemiro. But the duo had put together an impressive record when they were paired together in midfield. Casemiro has been slammed for his under-par displays in this campaign, and he has come close to leaving the club in both transfer windows, but he has fared better alongside former PSG star Ugarte. Before the Forest game, Casemiro and Ugarte had never lost when starting a game together, with United winning 4 games and drawing 2 in that time. Casemiro and Manuel Ugarte had been unbeaten when starting together before Tuesday night's game. But that run came to an end on Tuesday after United were breached early, and the two struggled to make an impact in midfield. At halftime, Amorim decided to take the quiet Ugarte off for Højlund, making a tactical shift of his formation, and then abandoned his starting central midfield totally midway through the second half after Casemiro was hooked for Eriksen. United lack cutting edge. We've certainly seen worse Manchester United performances this season, and Amorim's men played some decent stuff in the first half particularly. In the opening period, we were told about 4 times by co-commentator Ali McCoist how United had put together some great moves, but they still failed to put the ball in the back of the net. United had 10 shots in the first half, which was the second highest they had all season in the opening 45 minutes of an away game. The most was 11 in a 3-0 win over Southampton in September. Ruben Amorim looked infuriated with United's lack of sparkle in front of goal. Things didn't get much better in the second half as Højlund and Zirkzee failed to produce a threat, and Forest looked comfortable for the most part. Their woeful finishing was summed up by Harry Maguire, of all people being found in the box laid on by a great Patrick Dorgu cross, though the centre-back headed it well wide. United had a total of 20 opportunities and will be left with a feeling of what if as they make the journey back to Manchester. Amorim will be frustrated by his team's lack of spark and will only solidify his desires for a new striker that can guarantee goals. Garnacho frustrates. In a game where a former Manchester United winger caught the eye, there was additional pressure on Garnacho to deliver the goods. The Argentine was actually shrugged off by Elanga and sent crashing to the turf before the Swedish star fired in the opening goal. Later in the game, Garnacho was wasteful, spurning a number of opportunities as he blasted over the bar on a few occasions. He earned the wrath of many supporters on social media, with some questioning his decision-making and shooting accuracy. Alejandro Garnacho was wasteful on the wing for Manchester United. Mason Mount. Some positive news for United fans was the return of midfielder Mount, who has had a sorry time on the sidelines this season with niggling injury problems. The former Chelsea man has not played a game since December 15th after battling a succession of hamstring injuries. It's incredible to think this man cost United around £60 million in 2023. He's barely kicked a ball for the Red Devils, and he will have been relieved to finally get back on the pitch this week, desperate not to suffer any more setbacks. He very nearly enjoyed the perfect comeback after collecting a poor clearance on the edge of the area and curling an effort that flashed just past the far post. Jose Mourinho told Man Ut all they need to know about £50 million transfer target. Manchester United are one of many clubs linked with Bournemouth centre-half Dean Huijsen as the summer transfer window approaches, with Jose Mourinho already summing up his potential. Jose Mourinho has already told Manchester United everything they need to know about Dean Huijsen. The Red Devils are reportedly looking to overhaul their squad this summer. Ruben Amorim has failed to get the best out of the side he inherited from Erik ten Hag back in November. As a result, United currently languish in 13th in the table and are on track to secure their worst-ever finish in the Premier League era. Many fans are eager to see what United do during the summer transfer window, as the Old Trafford hierarchy look to offload players who have failed to make a mark, while bringing in exciting new talents to hit the ground running in 2025-26 and suit Amorim's favored 3-4-3 style of play. One of the names they're linked with at present comes in the form of 19-year-old Bournemouth centre-half Huijsen, and former United boss Mourinho's previous comments about the Spain international were as glowing as endorsements come. Speaking about the youngster who he worked with during his time at Roma, Mourinho said, "Dean Huijsen has 10 minutes of football in the Serie A, but he's one of the biggest prospects in football. He will be a very great player in the future." Incredibly fresh to the beautiful game, Huijsen made his way through the ranks of Juventus' next-generation reserve team in 2023, before enjoying a half-season loan with Roma in January the following year. The defender racked up 14 appearances for the Serie A side before returning to his parent club, but was quickly snapped up by Bournemouth in a £12.8 million deal last summer. Despite only playing in the Premier League for the past season, Huijsen has put the world on notice, racking up 27 appearances for the side and helping them mount an unlikely European football charge. And while he's got a 6-year deal with the Cherries, which sees him contractually tied to the Vitality Stadium until July 2030, it's also said to include a £50 million release clause. That could prove too tempting to ignore for United. However, the Red Devils are not the only side who are reported to be monitoring Huijsen's situation at present, with Real Madrid, Barcelona, Chelsea, and Liverpool each said to be showing an interest. Mourinho isn't the only manager who had positive feedback on Huijsen either, with his successor at Roma, Daniele De Rossi, previously explaining how the sky is the limit for the talent. The Italian said of Huijsen last year, "Huijsen is becoming more and more mature. He does a lot. He's very smart. He doesn't look 18 years old on the field. He knows what he is doing, but sometimes a little too well. Huijsen is good with the ball at his feet, but sometimes a little too calm. I think he needs to learn some more Italian tricks in his own box. If he does that, he will become one of the best players in the world."